Once upon a time, there lived a young girl named Idara. She was the beloved daughter of a kind and handsome man, Dean Eden. Her mother had passed away while giving birth to her, leaving her father with the sole responsibility of raising her. For 18 years he devoted himself to her, ensuring she lacked nothing. Their bond was deep, unbreakable, so she thought. Idara adored her father. He was her world, her anchor, her everything. The idea of being apart from him was unimaginable. But the time came when she gained admission into the university, 2 hours away from home. The thought of leaving him unsettled her, but Deacon Eden reassured her, promising to visit often. And he never broke his promises. Life on campus was pleasant. She made new friends, immersed herself in her studies, and adapted to her new world. Yet, her heart longed for home. When the semester break finally arrived, she hurried back, eager to reunite with her father. But nothing could have prepared her for the shock that awaited her. She stepped into the familiar warmth of her father's mansion, only to be greeted by a Strangera woman who smiled and introduced herself as her father's girlfriend. Idara's heart pounded in her chest. Her father walked in, his face beaming with joy as he welcomed her, and proudly introduced his new love. But Idara was not happy. A storm brewed within her, hidden behind a forced smile. She had always believed she was the only woman in her father's life, the one person he cherished most. The thought of sharing him with someone else felt like betrayal. Idara played along, pretending to accept the woman. She laughed with her, sat beside her, even engaged in cheerful conversation. But behind the facade, her mind was spinning, crafting a plan. She would not allow this woman to take her father away. She watched, waited, and then she struck. The next morning, Idara joined the woman, Emma, in the kitchen as she prepared Deacon Eden's favorite meal. Idara feigned interest, striking up a conversation, asking innocent questions. Emma, oblivious to the malice behind the curiosity, gushed about her love for Eden, her dreams of a future with him. Idara smiled, masking her anger. A few hours later, Deacon Eden stormed into the living room, his voice laced with fury. "Why did you steal from me?" he demanded, holding up a collection of his valuables. Emma's face drained of color. "Steal? What are you talking about?" she stammered, staring at the unfamiliar items in disbelief. Idara gasped dramatically, rushing to her father's side. "Father, please, maybe it's a misunderstanding," she pleaded, her voice dripping with concern. But Deacon Eden had made up his mind. He threw Emma out, his words sharp and unforgiving. Idara watched as the woman wept, pleading her innocence, but her father would not listen. As the door slammed shut, Idara felt a victorious thrill course through her veins. Months passed, and Eden remained devoted to his daughter. But loneliness crept in once more, leading him to Uke, a graceful, kind-hearted business consultant. When he introduced her to Idara, she greeted Uke warmly, her mind already spinning with a new plan. Days later, as Uke settled into their home for a visit, Idara waited for her moment. She snuck into Uke's room, found a pair of her neatly folded panties, and soaked them in the sewage tank outside. Carefully, she rinsed them just enough to leave the stench intact, before placing them in her father's bathroom. The next morning, Deacon Eden entered the bathroom only to recoil at the overpowering stench. He found the soiled underwear, disgust flashing across his face. "Okay," he roared, marching into the living room. "Are you a pig?" Uke gasped. "Excuse me? What are you talking about?" Eden thrust the offensive garment towards her. "This! I found this in my bathroom! What kind of woman are you?" Uke's eyes widened in horror. "This isn't mine, I swear!" But her protests fell on deaf ears. Eden ordered her to leave, his voice cold with finality. Idara stood by, feigning concern, while inwardly rejoicing. Yet, fate had a different plan. Not long after, Eden met Etong, a confident and perceptive woman. When their eyes met, she saw through Idara's sweetness, sensing the storm behind her charm. Idara knew she had to act fast. She snuck into her father's room, placed a calabash tied with red cloth beneath his table, and filled it with objects meant to suggest witchcraft. She was sure this would end Itong's chances. That evening, she waited for the explosion of anger. Instead, her father stormed into her room, his face dark with disappointment. "Is this what I sent you to university to do?" he demanded, tossing a photograph onto her bed. Idara's heart stopped. It was a picture of her at a nightclub, a bottle in her hand, surrounded by strange men. "Father, Enough!" he snapped, walking away, leaving her drowning in shame. Determined not to lose, Idara discovered Etong's secret. She was asthmatic. Knowing her father's deep fear of the illness that had claimed his wife, Idara devised her final cruel plan. She lit a candle in his bedroom, confident that the smoke would trigger an attack and expose Etong. But fate had other ideas. The candle caught onto the curtains, and soon the house was ablaze. Deacon Eden, smelling the smoke, rushed in to save Etong, shielding her from the flames. By the time they escaped, he had suffered severe burns. At the hospital, Idara stood frozen, staring at her father's bandaged face. Tears streamed down her cheeks as guilt crushed her. "Why, Idara?" His voice, weak yet filled with pain, pierced her soul. "Why did you do this to us?" She fell to her knees, sobbing. "Father, I didn't mean for this to happen. I just wanted things to be the way they were, just you and me." Eden closed his eyes, his face etched with heartbreak. "You let your jealousy blind you, Idara. You nearly lost me today. Was that worth it?" Her sobs filled the sterile hospital room as the weight of her actions crushed her. She had fought so hard to keep her father to herself, yet in the end she had nearly destroyed him. And in that moment, she realized she had already lost.